everybody. Hey, gang, what's going on? So, I want to talk about marathon training today and just go over some brutal, honest truths about marathon training because I don't want you to come into something that you don't expect. Okay. I want you to be prepared physically and mentally, especially if this is your first marathon. But even as a recurring marathoner, an experienced one who runs other races as well, there's a lot of things that can catch up to you if you don't pay attention to them. So, I'm going to go over some brutal truths today. Okay. I'm not going to beat around the bush. So I don't want you to think like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for this. I didn't expect that. Pardon my French, but I want you to be ready for it. So marathon training is different. It's not like a 5K where you can come back the following week and do it again. It's absolutely critical that you do the right things at the right time for an extended period of time. Now, one of the things is to me is a 12 to a 16 week block of training is probably the ideal situation, whether you're new or an experienced marathoner. The reason why I say that is because one of the things that's toughest to do in marathon training is to stay focused for a long period of time. Now, if you're disciplined enough, focused enough to extend it for 20 weeks or whatever, that's totally great too. But 12 to 16 weeks to me in blocks of 4 weeks, broken down for periodization purposes so that there's a different emphasis each cycle, keeps you locked in on your training and not getting stale physically and mentally too, because you have something to focus on for the next 4 weeks and then something to focus on the following 4 weeks. So everything changes. So you're kind of transitioning from one thing to the next, getting you mentally excited as well for the race that's going to come, right? And to me, that's I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay, and this to me is the ideal timetable: 12 to 16 weeks. Even if you're a beginner, you can get ready to run a marathon. 12 weeks, you can. I think 16 weeks is probably a little bit better because the more you're prepared to train for the marathon, to race the marathon, the better prepared you're going to be on the other end to recover from it. That is the other piece to this puzzle too, that I always find important to mention. So now moving on is consistency. Consistency is absolutely key, whether it's training, sleeping, fueling, everything, eating, doing things on a consistent basis helps set you up for success. Again, if your marathon race is in the morning, which most are, if you have the availability, I encourage you to do your long runs in the morning. Okay. And even hard, long workouts in the morning if you can, if your schedule and lifestyle permit it. Okay. That gets you used to marathon mode in the morning, particularly on a long run day. But if you're doing a long run on a Saturday, I don't think it is a good idea to be running Friday night and doing a workout Friday night. So just a rule of thumb, but you do what you feel is most appropriate. So, by the way, I've got fully detailed marathon training programs on this channel, Top of Line Running. So please subscribe to it if you haven't done that yet. I don't want you to miss anything good. And I've got almost 400 videos for you. Middle distance training all the way up to the marathon. Fully detailed. And if you have direct access to me too, blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. That's my email. Feel free to email me if you have questions. Now let's get back to this. Okay. Staying focused is absolutely important. Okay. Staying physically focused and mentally focused. Okay. Mentally focused will help the physical component as well. But marathon training is a different beast. It's not like you can come back the following week and do it again like a 5K if you happen to have an off day. So that's why marathon training is so important too, because you have to be a little bit more precise in the things that you do and when you do them to get you set up for success in a marathon. So that to me is a very, very important thing. And persistence on the other side, there are going to be days where you don't feel like running, right? Just I was a former competitive runner too. There were days I didn't feel like running, but getting out there and doing something, and if you get something in over nothing, something's better than nothing. But the more you go out and kind of resist that urge, and it'll be there sometimes. Okay, just get out there and get some work done, or get the prescribed workout of the day done, or run of the day. You will feel a hell of a lot better on the back end. And the last thing I want you to do is regret all those days that you missed after the marathon, rather than saying, you know what, I got out there and did it, because that could be the difference between you being ready and not. So it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, if you happen to miss a run for whatever, family, kids, work, being sick, don't worry about it. Okay, do not worry about it. Just keep moving forward. But rule of thumb too, at least for me, is if you have a temperature, a fever, there's no running that day. 24 hours off. So that's a kind of an intentional miss day too. You have to miss that day. But if you happen to miss the day for whatever other reason, please do not feel like you have to make it up on another day that week. Add the mileage to the rest of the week. Don't do it. Just keep moving forward, because that could disrupt your schedule for the next 7 to 10 days, and it could be counterproductive. So just a word of caution there. I've seen it happen quite a few times, and I don't want that to happen to you. Okay. Again, keep in mind, the marathon training is a short-term sacrifice. Okay. 12 to 16 weeks. Yes, I mean, there'll be days where you can't go out with your friends on a Friday night or a Saturday night because of a long one the next morning or whatever. You can't go to a party and blah, blah, blah. But I promise you, on the back end, once you finish that marathon, it'll be so worth it. So freaking worth it. And again, short-term sacrifices for long-term success. If that's something, you get that medal around your neck, you can never forget that. And that's something that cannot be replaced or forgotten or eliminated. You'll always be there. Always be there. So, and lastly, this is probably the hardest one, particularly for me when I was competitive runner, is being patient. The results will not come right away. Okay. But again, that's why training is set up. At least my programs, I can't speak for anybody else, but this training is set up for you to run your best when it counts the most. You'll feel like you can do more. Exactly what I want you to feel. Okay, like you can do more and do more and do more. But the idea is to set you up to run your best when it counts the most, not 4 weeks early, not 6 weeks early, and so on. So, and that's the part of the science part of that's the science part of training. That's where coaching comes into play. And sometimes coaching with the eyes is just as valuable as coaching with the watch. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, let me know. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. But again, this is real talk about marathoning stuff, just brutal, honest truths. And again, I don't like beating around the bush with my athletes. So I want you to know exactly what you need to know when you need to know it. That's it. And again, if you found this helpful, please share this with other folks. Please hit the thumbs up. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you next time.